Hello, I'm Grace Andrews, your Wesley Biblical Seminary librarian. Today I want to show you two things. First, I want to give you an overview of the library resources in general, so you know how to navigate that. And second, I want to show you how to use the EBSCOhost databases to do subject searches. So we'll start with a brief overview of library resources overall. So let me share my screen. We will start in Populate. This is where you'll find everything. You're already here for your classes, so it should make it simpler. So go up to the Library tab in black here. Then it opens onto the catalog. If you search in this box, you will find what we have in print here, like these books right behind me. A lot of you are not local, so you can't come use this in person. However, I can mail books to you. So if you have enough lead time for it to get to you through the mail, send me an email and say, hey, I'd really like to borrow this book, and I can mail it to you. You will just be responsible for mailing it back at the end of your loan. The second thing I can do is scan this for you. So I can send you PDFs of certain chapters or sections of the book. This is really helpful when it comes to commentaries, or if you're looking at a book but you really only need one chapter, edited collections, that kind of thing. It's really simple for me to do a scan and send it to you in your email. Obviously, that's going to be faster than getting the whole book in the mail, and it's a way that you have access to it even though you're not local. So those are the two things you can do from the catalog. The other thing you're going to want to do is go here to links. This is where we have all of our library links. You can find more library YouTube tutorials here. You can also go here to our databases. This is where you're going to find our ebooks, our electronic journals, dissertations and theses, all sorts of resources that are at your fingertips from wherever you are. So I'm actually going to We'll come back to EBSCOhost at the end. That's the one I really want to dive in and show you today. But we also have ProQuest databases and ProQuest eBook Central. The databases include the dissertations and theses, journal articles, and also ebooks. eBook Central goes directly into ebooks. So if you just want books at the moment, you're not interested in articles, you can go to ProQuest eBook Central for that. This one is nestled in databases though. So if you want to look at all of them, just go to ProQuest databases. JSTOR has journals and book chapters. It's a little bit broader in its disciplines. So whereas EBSCOhost and ProQuest are both very focused on biblical resources, theological resources, and other things related to religion and philosophy, JSTOR is a little bit broader in the humanities. So if you want to go out towards some more social sciences, you want to look at something involving education, JSTOR would be the place to go for that. All of our stuff is focused on the kind of content you'll need in classes though. So I would recommend play with all of these databases, find which one you like the most kind of as a starter database, and then you can use the others to supplement if you need a few more sources, but you haven't found it where you're looking the first place. The Theological Research Exchange Network is specifically for dissertations. So if you want to see dissertations or master's theses of theological variety, you can go there. This is where we put our Doctor of Ministry dissertations there in here. It is a little bit of a clunky website, I will say, but it is also a good place to go for extra resources. Then RefWorks is a tool. I have a particular RefWorks tutorial, so I do encourage you to check that out on the tutorial page on YouTube. But RefWorks is really helpful. It's a citation management tool, so it's going to help you organize your citations and organize your research. So I do encourage you to use that. We also have other libraries. So you have access to what's here in print. You have access to what we have in books and journals and that sort of thing, and that's lots and lots of sources. But you also have access to other libraries. So you can check out these maps to find a library near you, and they're basically partner libraries with us. We let their students borrow from us, and you as our student can borrow from them. So look and find one that's near you. This can expand the resources available to you. And if you have any questions, reach out to me. the different ACL, there's a little authorization form that I'll send you. For ATLA, you just need an enrollment verification generally. Also something that I can get for you. So let me know if you're interested in taking advantage of either of these things. WorldCat similarly shows you libraries from all around the world and exactly where a book is, how many libraries near you have it. So that's a fun tool as well. So back up to the databases. This is going to be your home. This is where you're going to live mostly, is JSTOR, ProQuest, and EBSCOhost. So notice under JSTOR, we have the username. It's Wesley Biblical, and the password is seminary. Very secure. I'll show you where that is. So when you are in JSTOR, it will say, it'll have a couple login options. Do not go to login through your library as much as you might think that's where you need to be. Go to this big red login button. So the red login button is where you're going to put in Wesley Biblical and then in the password seminary. Then you're logged in, you have access to everything we're paying for, and you can go from there. With ProQuest and EBSCOhost, it's just going to ask you to log in again with your Populi credentials. So what you already have for Populi, you just use the same thing to get to ProQuest and EBSCOhost. I will let you explore ProQuest on your own. It's pretty straightforward in its interface. It feels a lot like Google. But I want to show you EBSCOhost because it has really nice indexing. And the fact that I'm excited about indexing shows you that I'm an academic librarian. But you'll be excited about it as well when you get into your research and you want to find the right resources fast. So EBSCOhost, you're going to go here. It's going to ask you to log in with your Populi credentials. And then once you're in, it opens to this search page. Now you can do a couple of things. You can just search here, do a basic search. That's fine. But you can also go to the advanced search, and that is what I recommend. So let's say you are interested in finding out what's John Wesley's interpretation of sanctification. What has he written on that? Obviously, you're going to need some primary sources, so you'll want to look in Wesley's works. But if you also need some secondary sources and see what have people said about Wesley and sanctification, let's try this. So Wesley and sanctification. Now, for now, I am just putting both of these together. I could select a field if I want to get more specific, say, look for Wesley only in the author field, or only in the title field, or only in subject terms. Same thing with sanctification. I could also switch from end. With end, I'm looking for records that have both Wesley and sanctification in them. If I switched it to or, I'll find more resources because it'll be anything that has Wesley and also anything that has sanctification. If I use not, this is one that I don't use very often, but that would mean I would get all of the resources that have Wesley in them unless they also say sanctification. And if they also say sanctification, they're out. So not can be useful when you're trying to limit your search, but mostly what I use is end. So we're just going to do this basic search for now. You can come down and play with these other search options as well. But we're just going to do Wesley and sanctification, hit search. And that gives us 281 results. Not a bad number. Honestly, 281 is probably something you could look through and figure out. But let's get a little bit more specific. So I'm going to look at this one first, Acts of Mercy as Mimesis, just to dive into it a little bit more. So when you're here, if it is available to you in full text, you'll have this PDF full text option. I can click on it, download it, print it. It's all available to me. On the right, you also have a number of tools. So you can add this to Google Drive, you can add it to OneDrive, you can add it to a folder if you want to organize your research within EBSCOhost. You can print it, you can email it to yourself, save it, cite it. This one's really helpful. It does not have SBL, but it does have Chicago. So if you do this Chicago 17th, not the author date, but the notes bibliography, this is so close to SBL that it basically is SBL. So you can use that for your citations. You can also export it as an RIS file and send it to RefWorks that way. You can create a note. You can also do this link so that you can come back to it. So there's a lot that you can do just from within the record. Now, what I really want to point out though is this subjects. So Wesley, John, 1703 to 1791, and ethics. If you want to go particularly to John Wesley's ethics, you can go there. And sanctification as well is a subject term. So if I click on this, I'm going to find all of the articles, books, any kind of record in EBSCOhost that is categorized under John Wesley's ethics. So I'm going to click on that. And that gets us down to 120, which obviously that's still a lot, but it is particularly, this is everything that EBSCO has on John Wesley and ethics. And you can do this with any of the subject terms. Now, if I also wanted to add in sanctification, I can add it back in. I can say sanctification, and I want this in subject terms. Then I'm going to hit search. And this gets us down to 12. So these 12 sources, because they are indexed under John Wesley's ethics and also under sanctification, they are probably going to be really good resources for you. And once you have 12, you can actually read through all of these and find out what they have to say, right? You can do it if they're PDF full text. Let's see, a lot of these are full text, which is fantastic. But let's say you want Understanding Christian Perfection and its Struggle with Antinomianism. It's not full text. You see there's no full text here. I'm going to click here. If you still would like this resource and you just don't have it, there are a couple of things. Sometimes it's not in full text because it's available online. So notice here, availability, it says view online. I can click here and I will actually get to it. And from here, I can read this whole issue. I can download the particular article that I'm looking for. And there we go. When that's not an option, sometimes it'll say, rather than view online, it'll say subscriber access, and you can't get access to it. That's when what I would do is click on this permalink, copy and paste it, and send it to me. That way I can come back to this article and say, hey, I would really like this. Can you get it for me on interlibrary loan? You can also do this through an email, or you can simply copy and paste the record. I don't particularly care how you do it, but send me the bibliographic information. I can request it on interlibrary loan. Normally, when it's an article, we can get that within a couple of days and I'll send it your way. So you never hit a true wall. Keep going and you will normally find the sources. So that is just a quick overview of what you can do with EBSCOhost. I want to show you one more thing. Let's say that's great. You want those 12, but you really want to see if there's anything more. Notice that we're looking specifically at John Wesley's ethics. If we want to look at anything about John Wesley and sanctification, we can just take this out. This is kind of a subcategory. And I'm going to hit search again. And then that gets us down to the ones that are categorized by John Wesley and also sanctification. That actually got it smaller. There are only 6 of those. So then you might want to expand back to ethics. But that is the way that you will explore things in EBSCOhost. Again, you'll go from, let me show you again, from that first page, hit advanced search here, and then you'll start playing with it within there. You can try different terms. You can try different fields as well. I do like starting with it just open, any field, and then kind of exploring from there. But you can start out from subject terms as well to try to get narrower from the very beginning. So hopefully this helps. Hopefully it gives you some ideas about how to get started with your research. And let me know if you have any questions.